Welcome to the channel. This time around I'll be going through the 64 Suzuki K11 brakes. If you watched the carburetor episode, I mentioned that I didn't want to test ride it because the front brake locks up solid. It's like an on-off switch, and it actually skids the tire in the garage, on the surface in the garage. So I don't want to take it on the road and get some speed up to test the carb and the engine correctly. With that brake acting like that. And they can't just use the back brake because that's just not safe anyway. So while I'm at it, I'll do both brakes. And the first thing I've got to do is try to mount it safely on the lift so it doesn't flip over on me. It's kind of like a unique little bike that may require some special adapters for the lift. So let's take it apart and see what's going on with the brakes. There you have it. It's on the lift. All I have to do is take off the rear brake rod, and I don't think I'll need any special adapters for this, so I guess I got lucky. So now I'll start taking the wheels off and see what we find. I'll start with the front wheel because that's the one that's giving me problems, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on in there. It probably may be just a broken spring, but who knows. The back brake is going to need shoes for sure because it was adjusted way up there, so it's telling me that there's not much brake shoe lining left. So we'll start with the front. Oops. No. Okay, there's a seal cover. Oops. Seal cover on the right hand side, and I dropped the brake pin. Now I'm going to pull it apart. Let's go down a bit here. Oops. Okay, let's have a look. Well, there's not much of a ridge on the brakes. Not sure why it's grabbing. Anyway, bring it to the bench. Okay, let's have a look at this thing. Nothing looks really suspicious right now. The shoes themselves are, the lining is very thin, but I'm not too sure how thick these are when they're new, so I don't know. I'll have to take it with a grain of salt, I guess. Now to pull the shoes off. Let's see. Certainly is greasy in here. Yeah. There's a washer and an O-ring. Have to remember when I put that back together. I've never seen grease cause a lockup. Usually you're lacking in braking. Have to get a new seal for this. Well, no smoking gun, other than it's really dirty. I'll go do the back. Okay, let's take the rear wheel apart. Gather my tools. I've already taken off the chain. And once again, it's 17 millimeter. Oops, before I do that, I've got to take off the, the torque arm. Let's take it 14. Ooh, yeah. No lining, but no ridge on the brake drum. That's a bonus. So, the sprocket needs to be changed. It's pretty much hooked, so that's pretty normal. Order one of those too. We have a ball tire. Man, this thing is really cracked. Okay. Well, this one wasn't acting weird, so it's just basic shoes. Clean up the drum. Clean up the backing plate. I'll just do the same way as I did the other guys. It's probably going to be just glass beaded and polished, painted, and then baked. So that's it for the back. So I order a set of shoes, front and rear, and some seals. Put it back together, and then I'll road test the bike. See what happens. Well, for this test, I'm just going to try to see if I can figure out what's going on with the front brakes locking. Getting parts for these SUZUKIs, these vintage ones, is quite a bit different than Honda vintage bikes. The parts are pretty hard to get, and the one location I found the brake shoes, front and rear, Turns out to be in Thailand, but pretty good price, under $9, but the shipping is $40 each. So you're looking at $80 shipping for $20 worth of parts. So for now, I'll put it back together, clean it all up, and see if I can get down to the root cause of the brakes locking up. Maybe there's something as simple as they were misassembled last time, or maybe this particular lining reacts with excess grease, because that grease seal was not working very well. So we'll try and see what's going on with that. Okay, I've reassembled the wheel, and it seems to be a bit better. It may have been just rust from sitting so long, but it's still more aggressive than I thought most of my other bikes did when I worked on them. But it's better, I guess. So I don't know if you can see this. I'll spin the wheel, and at least I can get it's engaged there now, but I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. But it will lock it up. So I'll have to be super careful when I ride this thing. I'll put the back together temporarily. It needs new shoes for sure, but just to road test the bike. Well, I cleaned up the back wheel, the drum, and the shoes, and put it back together. And in one of the tests I did prior to doing the assembly, is I was able to take the assembled rear hub with the shoes mounted. I can move them up and down, so that's telling me there's a whole lot of wear there. And more than likely, that's the same deal with the front brakes. And it's probably starting to cam over, which is something that you don't want to happen. It happened to me once on a 1965 Honda CM90, and it was no fun with the front wheels skidding across a couple lanes in the rain and landed under a car. Fortunately, it was stopped. But anyway, this would be good enough for a test run. I'm doing it this way right now because it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get the replacement shoes here from across the ocean. So That's all I'm going to do for now. I would like to road test it today, but we're finally getting some rain down here, so that's a good thing. So we've had a drought for some time, and it's been unbearable for a while. Anyway, I'll get this thing all back on the ground and put in the rear brake rod and wait for an opportunity to go for a road test. So we'll see what happens on the road test. Now I'm hoping that the engine will clear up, and probably will. It sounds pretty good. While I had it up here, I also adjusted the points. They're a little bit on the tight side. So that's it. So we go for a road test. I got a chance to do the road test. The work I did to the brakes seems to have corrected the lockup issue. The front brakes were quite civil. The back brakes were always okay, but I've gotten some new parts coming in, brake shoes, front and rear, from a vendor I've used before, and it won't take as long as I thought they were going to take. I still don't have them, of course. It'll take a couple of weeks. That's no problem. I think I've got it figured out. The oil coming out of the back is probably due to seals, and I think it's the engine is starting to suck in some transmission oil. When I did the points on the left-hand side of the engine of the stator, it was wet in there, so that's an indication the seals are shot anyway. I don't know why the seals would be bad, because the thing's only 60 years old. But anyway, I'll pull the engine apart at this point in time, and hopefully I'll be able to find seals. I did some searching briefly, and it looks like I may have to go seal by seal. I can't find a kit. I could find a kit for newer Suzukis, like the RM125, so on and so forth. Not this particular one. So I'm hoping for the best, and I'm pretty sure if I can get these sealed part numbers, I can get them individually anyway. Gasket set's not a problem. Get that. There's not much to these. There's only about 4 gaskets to the whole engine. So time to pull the engine out and do a rebuild. Well, that's it for this video. The brakes are pretty much done as far as I'm going to go right now. The new brake shoes did come in a lot earlier than I thought. I ordered them on a Sunday evening, and they were at my doorstep next Friday afternoon. They put both shoes in the same box, and I believe they unpackaged them to make them fit. But, they saved me $30 worth of shipping costs, so that's all right. The unfortunate part is I can't tell which one's the front, which one's are the rear, because they look identical. Other than the shade of the lining themselves, so I may have to do a little bit of experimenting to see which one's the front and which one's the rear. The front's typically more aggressive than the rear. So I know that the engine has to come out right now. It's already out. And I'll be going through the rebuild of the engine in the next video. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.